Hi, I'm Ernest, and in this video we are going to take a look at Ajax Search Pro's WordPress command line commands for the index table creation. So I have two different setups here. One is like a smaller database with like 80 posts, and the other one is a large one for 167,000 posts. Right now it has 13 million keywords. And I decided to do this to show you the differences in how you should index smaller and larger tables through the command line if you decide to do that. So I'm going to use the smaller one to show you all the commands because indexing like 80 items here not going to take a lot of time. So I have a terminal open. I think this one is for, yes, this one is for the small installation. So let's type in WP-ASP, which is gonna list us all the commands. And if you want to check these out, there is the knowledge base of these commands and all the flags, everything explained, and with the examples, I do recommend to do that. Either way, I'm gonna walk you through it now. So it says we should go with the help of the index command. So let's type in WP help ASP index, and it will show you where like a very similar documentation is here. So it's going to show you first off the synopsis of the command. So you can do new, continue, delete, item or info, and these flags, batch, skip, confirm, post ID, whatever. We're going to take a look at all of this. And if you scroll down, like as you can see, everything is like very nicely documented, as well as there is some examples on how you can run this command. Let me clear this up and let's start with the info command. So WP ASP index info. This is just going to show you an information for the index table, how many items should there be in the index, and how many keywords are there in the index. That's all. Let me clear this again and let's now create a new index. So all you need to do is WP ASP index new. A confirmation dialog will pop up, and entering Y and enter, it's going to create a new index. It shouldn't really take too long. Here we go. It took like 5 seconds and everything is indexed now. And if I run the info, it should show us that everything is indexed. If I want to delete the index, then I will do WP ASP index delete. And this is also going to show the same confirmation. And now everything should be out of the index table. Let's just confirm it by ASP index info. And as you can see, nothing is there. There's 0 items out of 80 that should be indexed. Now, what if I want to continue the existing index? For example, I start the process, then I just cancel it. Now, if I run the info, there's like 19 items indexed, but I don't want to delete them. Say I have a huge database, and I'm going to show you that as well. I just want to continue. Well, I can do that with WP ASP index continue. Yeah, and as you can see, it will continue the index right where it left off. There is one more command left, and that is WP ASP index item. And this, if you were to run it like this, it will show me that, okay, no post ID was provided, so I need to use a flag. And this is the first flag, and it only works with this command. So I need to go post ID and say, I think, I don't know what IDs do I have. Let's try one. Yeah, it is indexed. I think if I enter something, enter something that doesn't exist, we'll say it's not found. It's a great command if you want to reindex through the command line. Maybe you're doing something with the posts and you just want to make sure it's reindexed. So these are all the commands. Now let's take a look at flags. So let's do WP ASP index new, and let's start with the batch flag. Batch is going to tell the indexer how many items should it index for each iteration. By default, it is set on the backend. If I go to the backend and the index table advanced, it is 25, so it defaults to that value. How about I try something lower, maybe 4, and it's gonna create a new index. All right, it just, there's just more lines outputted, but the total time of it is very similar to the previous one. So that is the batch flag. How about if I want to skip the confirmation dialog? It is like generally not that useful, but if you are planning to use this in a cron tab, which I'm going to show later, that skip confirmation is really handy because it doesn't interrupt the command. So skip confirm. So when I make a new index right now, it's not going to ask for confirmation. It's just gonna do it right away. Here we go. As you can see, it just went right on it. Okay, let me clear this and let's add a new flag. So we did skip confirm, we did batch. Now let's do check responsiveness. So this one checks if the database response time is okay, and it will skip for a couple of seconds each iteration, just to make sure the database is responsive. Check responsiveness, and here we go. And as you can see, there's like extra lines printed. Here we go. Okay, let's see. So database is ready, continuing, responsiveness 0.0002 seconds. I think the threshold is set to 0.01 seconds. If you feel like your database is really doing some hard work, you should probably use this flag. Otherwise, you can completely skip that. I'm gonna delete all of these, don't need that. And let's go with the sleep flag. Sleep is gonna tell the process to hold for this many milliseconds. For example, I want a half a second halt after each batch. So I'm gonna create a new index. And as you can see, it says it does an index session, and then it sleeps, and then does it again, then it sleeps. This is again very useful if your database is quite busy and you just want to reduce, the requests to it. Okay, we have already seen post ID, so let's just skip that. That is used with the ASP index item command, and let's go now to the separate process. This is a lot more interesting, and we're going to use that very soon. All right, so separate process. What this does, let's just go separate process. This one is going to fork a new process for each batch, thus reducing the memory usage greatly, especially in cases where the database is huge. So let's just start this, and you will notice that this is gonna take it didn't take that much longer, but if you had like a bigger database or bigger batch size with a bigger database, it would take a lot longer. And I do really recommend using this flag if you have a big database, because if the process is not forking, the memory consumption is gonna slowly increase, and eventually you're going to run out of memory. But if the process is forking a new instance every single time, for every single batch, the memory load stays super low. So for small cases like this, for 80 posts or even like some couple of thousands, that's not going to make a big difference. But if you have like my second case here with the 170,000 items, well, yeah, you should definitely do that. I think it demonstrated everything for this the smaller setup. So these are all the commands and all the flags. All right, now let's move to the large database. All right, let's see the settings for the large database setup. So under the Ajax Search Pro index table settings, I have selected the following options. I'm indexing titles, content, and excerpts, which is default. I've selected post pages and products. I also selected post tags, post categories, and product tags, product categories. And under the custom fields, the SKU, which is a product SKU custom field. And there's one more thing that I've enabled: database compression for the index table engine. Basically, it creates no extra CPU usage in my case, so it makes sense to enable it. All right, let's now take a look at the search instance settings. So this test search instance, if you want to recreate exactly what I have. So first off, on the very first page, I've selected the index table engine, selected the same post types, all three. And besides that, under search behavior, keyword logic and matching, I have chosen the primary keyword logic as and with exact keyword matches. And that is because we are going to have over 30 million keywords, and there's a really high probability that it's going to yield results. If you're afraid that a lot of queries will be without matches, then you can choose the AND as the secondary keyword logic, or maybe I would recommend AND, but I would definitely not recommend using AND with the primary keyword logic. It's going to be a lot slower, and it's going to yield just way too many results. Apart from that, for the live search triggers, I have changed the minimal character count to trigger search to 3, and that is to assure that if I type in just 2 characters, I wouldn't get wouldn't trigger a search and to prevent slower queries. All right, now the problem is if I click on the new index button, as you can see, okay, there's an approximation of like 3-4 hours. It's gonna go up quite a bit. It's gonna go up quite a bit. I can tell you it's gonna take about 5-ish hours, and on remote servers this is usually even longer. So the problem with this is, you know, browsers can freeze up, and perhaps I don't want to leave this window open. So the WordPress command line fixes all of that. So I'm going to stop this. It did index some of it. And let's use the CLI interface for that instead. However, you will run into the same issue when using the command line, because once you close the command line, the command is going to terminate. So how do you resolve that? It is really simple. Most Debian systems, Ubuntu, whatever, they have this application called Screen. So you just type in Screen installed. What this is going to do is basically as if you were connected through a virtual monitor that is not closed until you close it from the terminals. So right now I'm in the Screen session. Whatever command I type in, if I close the terminal, it's not going to terminate until I go back into the Screen session, continue, and terminate it from there, for example. So let's start the indexing process, right? So WP ASP index new, and let's use the separate process flag. And I'm also gonna increase the batch size to 50 here, so it like processes more for each batch. Let's see what's gonna happen. So this thing has, okay, it started. All right, so it's like 11 seconds. It says like about 5 hours. Right now, if I close this terminal, like if I click X, it's not gonna terminate. So you might wonder, how do you exit from the Screen session and reconnect to it? So you wanna hit Control A, release, and then D. So Control A, release it, and then D, and it's gonna detach from, as you can see, detached from that screen. How about if I want to go back to it? You know, I can just close this terminal. How do I go back to it? So you type in screen-R. That is going to continue, and as you can see, it is going in the background, so it's not interrupted. I can just leave it like this, and it's gonna finish, well, in a couple of hours. All right, I'm back, and the indexing has been finished. And I did an oopsie, as you can see. It didn't take 44 minutes. It took a lot longer than that. Unfortunately, I accidentally restarted the remote, and I totally forgot that I was running this thing. So I had to continue the index, and this continuation took 44 minutes. So I probably interrupted like after like 3 or 4 hours. But either way, as you can see, the indexing has been finished for 176,000 posts, and the total keyword count is 13 million, which is quite a lot. Hey, but let's just try the performance, right? So that's what we are interested in. So how about I try to type in wood? And as you can see, it was quite fast, like nothing happened. And there's around 2,800 more results. Let's try egg, maybe. Here we go. Let's try on Mac. There's a lot of repetitive keywords because these were generated, but as you can see, like there's almost like no performance issues whatsoever. All right, so this is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know, leave a thumbs up. I really enjoy reading your comments as well. And if you don't have an Ajax Search Pro license yet, well, what are you waiting for? Links in the description below. Bye bye.